On Saturday, May 10th of 2008, it was a beautiful spring day. I had mowed the yard and the temperature was about 80 degrees.
It was a quiet Mother's Day weekend in the tiny southwest Missouri town of Racine, where Tom Cook, his wife, and daughter were enjoying a quiet Saturday, until Tom started to take notice of the weather.
One of the local weathermen come on and said that there was a tornado on the ground, and about that time it started hailing, and it was the biggest hail I've ever seen, just huge chunks of ice. I knew something was up then. I knew something was unusual.
What Tom didn't know was that an EF4 tornado just tore apart Pitcher, Oklahoma, and was headed right for his family.
It got dark then, and the hail was hailing harder, and I thought, well, I'm going to definitely have some roof damage. And I told them to get down the hall into our bathroom. I got them down. I got the daughter down on the floor, and the wife got down on top of her, and I walked back down the hall toward the kitchen. About that time, our double windows in the kitchen, which is on the west side of the house, just blew in, just like a bulldozer had been out there and pushed them in. And I thought, well, here it is. So I went back in the bathroom and got down on them and was holding on to them. Then the roof come off the house, and I couldn't hold on to them. I was flying through the air with sheet metal and 2x4s and trees, and you come to the conclusion, and rightfully so, that this is it, you know. All these 58 years, I know the ending now. Then I hit the ground, and I opened my eyes. I never passed out. I opened my eyes and thought, God, how lucky you are. So I sat up and I looked back toward the house, trying to kind of find out where I landed, and there was no house. It was down to the concrete block. And then that terrible feeling that I've got to find my wife and child. Where are they? And I could see Ryan standing up, my daughter Ryan standing up down there. As I got closer, I could see that she was standing over her mother. She wasn't lucid, but she could talk and say, yes, I'm okay. And you say all the things she wanted to say that, you know, you might not have another chance to say again. Told her I loved her and she was going to be all right. And then, honestly, I was just amazed that we were all alive.
Initially, it seemed like everything was okay, but the following day, Tom's wife was suffering from internal bleeding that no one was aware of.
About 2 o'clock that afternoon, the nurses I saw were concerned, acting concerned, you know, and talking in quiet voices around me, and they came in and said, Mr. Cook, your wife is in a code red, and I wasn't for sure what that meant. I think I did, but I didn't want to believe it. At about 2:30, she died. And I told the doctors over there, I said, I've just lost my wife. And I can't afford to lose my daughter too, so I said, you better take damn good care of her.
Is it hard to look at the pictures, I mean, after this time, or?
No, just this one. These are just things, they don't mean nothing. I mean, you get hardened to feel anything. The first thing I had to do was I wasn't going to subject my daughter or me to a situation like that again.
Tom decided to buy a storm shelter.
But everybody said, you've done your time in the barrel. The odds of you being hit again is astronomical, and you're kind of foolish for spending that money.
But Tom was about to go through it all over again, because he moved to a town just 15 miles to the north.
At about 5:30, the sirens went off. And Ryan and I, we had practiced this. We grabbed our billfolds and cell phones and things like that. The storm was so wide you couldn't delineate a funnel. It was just a big black cloud coming in. The second siren went off. Well, this time it went off one time, and the siren I knew was about 2 blocks west of me. And usually it cycles 3 or 4 times and dies down. Well, this went off once and it was gone. And I took off for a run for the safe. And I got the door shut, and that's when it hit.
Oh, it's getting big, 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 big.
Another tornado, this time an EF5 with winds of 200 miles per hour, was ripping apart the Cook family home.
I told Ryan maybe it just damaged the house and it won't be as bad. But then you hear the raindrops on the roofs of the metal safe, and you know it's done it again. And then everything's gone again. When I did open the door opened east towards St. John's Hospital. In the normal times, you wouldn't have been able to see it for the houses and the trees, but there it was, just stark. This huge building that was just destroyed. Everything was flattened between me and the hospital and on each side. The metal safe was all that was there.
Everything was destroyed around the Cooks' home. They had now survived 2 tornadoes, but this time, things were different.
The main difference between these storms was $100,000 in hospital bills and a funeral, because I had protection in the second one. I spent that $4,000 hoping to never need it, but the unbelievable happened. I've lost that ability to say, well, hell, nothing can happen to me again. I'll win the lottery before that happens. It's happened twice. I don't not only expect it to happen, it's just when. And if I can get to that safe, I know that I'll have a real good chance of surviving it. It's just, me and the kid can't go through that no more.
Tom and his daughter Ryan rebuilt their home for the 3rd time and still live in Joplin. I know not everyone can afford a storm shelter, but at least have an action plan and know where to go if a tornado is threatening.